Vibranium. They say life is great.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the Vibranium Project. Once again, you're joined by Josh, Rami, Kynan, and Tyrone. I guess I'll start off with a simple question for you guys. Beginning of the working week, how are you all feeling? I know I'm not feeling too great.
Monday blues.
Yeah, we all know how Mondays feel. Actually, isn't it Tuesday today?
Yeah, it's Tuesday.
Yeah, see, that's how bad it is.
Tuesday's better than Monday. I know a lot of people say,
Nah.
see, the East Coast
Tuesday
Tyrone.
is like, oh yeah, you're nearly done for the week. Nah.
But it's better than Monday, because like Monday, you're like so far away.
But here's the thing, you have to remember, it's Tuesday night, right?
So technically it's hump day almost.
It's basically hump day, yeah.
Yeah.
So we have to remember that it's hump day. It's, it's all about
This
positivity.
is why we guys are friends.
It's all about that positive mindset. But I guess, guys, how is your week been? I mean, like, we all know we have to get up. Actually, I realize it's pretty late. We should probably hurry this up.
Yeah, right. Well, today for me it wasn't too bad. I'm sorry guys, I'm just gonna jump in because we got cake. It was
Cake?
because
Why was it cake?
one of the guys at work turned 40. Doesn't
Ooh.
it? Well, he doesn't look 40. Now he is born obviously in '79, so he's the last '70s baby to become 40. So
That's true.
that's his year, and I guess we are all hitting a quarter of a century here,
I
guys,
know
this
what
year.
you're about.
Come on, you guys sit back down.
No, I know what you're about.
But you
Not
know,
for a long time.
you know what I think would be pretty cool to talk about. I was talking. So my boss was staying next to me when we were singing Happy Birthday, and we're cutting up the birthday cake, and he's like,
cake was it?
"Oh, bro, it was like
It was cake. Bro.
it was a
Cake.
white cake
Hey,
with blue
hey, hey.
icing. That's what
This is-
cake is cake.
Kynan's asking the real questions here. What sort of cake is it?
Cake is
Really
cake.
important
Is it
question.
cheesecake? Is it chocolate cake?
Nah,
Well,
it was like a
cheesecake,
sponge
it
cake
has
with some icing.
It was
Bro.
the classic Coles cake.
No, oh, actually, I think it was from Woolworths, but it looked like it was homemade because it had his name and shit. It says catered.
Oh.
Yeah,
Wow, that's fancy.
I don't know, bro.
So did the company pay for it?
Of course. Man, I wasn't gonna pay for that
They
shit.
probably
Yeah.
paid way too much.
Fringe
for it.
benefits
Yeah.
tax exemption because it was
on,
enjoyed on site.
on site. Yeah, on site. And it'd be mine and frequent anyway.
Mine and frequent, bro. It's less than $300.
We're really sorry, guys. We just gave you tax lesson right there. But anyway, so my boss is like, he starts speaking to me. He's older than me, obviously, and he's like, oh, it's you got to learn to respect time. And we're just talking about birthdays and stuff. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, what do you mean? Well, he's like, around your age, you get married, and then you have kids, and then you spend time worrying about your kids, and then your kids leave home, and your kids don't care about you, and then you go grey worrying about them even more. But he's like, then I'm like, is it even really worth it? He's like, it's all worth it.
Did you say
Not
what?
the way he just put the.
Oh, yeah, that's
He's
I'm
like,
like,
bro, it's so bad. You do this, but,
I'm like-
it's worth it. Eh?
I'm
It's
like,
worth it."
I'm like, this is the worst sales pitch I've had in my life.
Oh my
Like,
God.
if you're trying to sell me something, I'm not gonna buy it. That's how you're gonna sell it to me.
Wow.
But guys, like,
He's related to Superwog.
Superbug's a lad, bro.
At least you know how to sell shit.
The
eh?
Bobcats.
It's a bobcat.
Yeah. But like, I think that is significant to us because I'm gonna bring it back to the fact that this year we turned quarter of a century. We have a century
Nah, I'm
in
not-
reference.
Quarter of our way through our lives.
No, I'm not there yet.
Yeah,
Neither am I, but I
a
will be.
long way away.
Guys, stop talking shit.
Ages.
No, I
And-
know what you're about.
And so
I'm like the put your head in the sand.
and pretend
Oh,
nothing's
Scrooge.
happening.
Mhm.
It's like a oh, I can't see you, you can't see me sort of.
Well, I guess you look at other guys like older dudes like Joe Rogan, who's probably fitter than all of us.
That
He's-
guy's done life correctly.
and he's more than double our age, but he's fitter and stronger than all of us combined.
Yeah.
So that makes me feel better about myself. In saying that
It's like there's still
there's still
a growth period.
a growth period to come, right? But given what he's still respecting time, how do you guys feel like your life's gone so far? Like it's gone, it's so
Fuck
quick,
me.
right?
Are you just asking the deep questions?
I will, if someone was here, if the listeners were here where we are right now on top of Mount Kutho, it's a pretty good place to be philosophical, I'd say.
Pristine views, deluxe quality.
It is quite good, and for a Tuesday night, you can't find a car park here, so it's quite busy here, guys.
Yeah, I swear it's busier than it is on like a Friday night.
Yeah, so people must have fooled themselves thinking we go on Tuesday night, won't be busy, but everyone thought the same thing, and everyone's here on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
But
A lot of tourist stuff from my here.
oh yeah, probably that's all you got in Brisbane. You got Brisbane River, which is like
South Bank.
Yeah.
which is at Brisbane River.
full of shit, and then you got Mount
Better than
Kutho.
the Yarra River.
Oh Yarra River, you can. I
Yarra River.
could swim across the Yarra River. I can't even swim.
Yarra River looks like a sewage plant.
Looks like
Sorry, Melbourne Knights.
No, I don't like Melbourne. So, no
Well,
jokes.
we just lost all our Melbourne listeners.
Oh well.
Well, that's a total of 0 Melbourne listeners that we started off with. And that's a total of 0 Melbourne listeners that we ended up with. And that's not rice.
Are you good,
Right.
mate? Are you good?
Legit, that was like the biggest rice I've ever heard.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, that smells too, Tyrone. Oh.
Oh, guys, sorry,
Come
man.
on,
These guys have some. So I was trying to be
Totally
serious here, guys. So
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
go.
no, but that's why I'm trying to like.
no. Well, you're
Sweat.
first up then, Tyrone. I'm gonna fire at you.
Bro, I'll
So-
smash you, bro.
He actually will
Okay,
smash me.
okay,
I'm not
ask the
kidding.
question. I'll answer first.
So-
I'll save you time.
Okay,
Thank
thanks.
you.
So Josh is the most mature here, obviously. So Josh,
Yeah.
gonna hit quarter of a century.
Yeah.
How
One
do you?
week.
Okay, anyway.
Yeah,
moving
in
on.
a week. He's actually
Not
going
even
to
a week.
turn.
It's like 4 days.
He's
basically.
gonna turn a quarter of a century for all of us. So he's the most relevant person to ask this question. How do you
That's not the
feel
train.
so far? Like looking at where you are now.
Mhm.
How do you feel your life's progressed? And do you feel like you're so much more you're going to achieve, or do you think like you're happy with the pace you're traveling and just running the trajectory?
See, I mean, you've kind of asked like a few questions within the same question. It's such a broad, I guess, a broad kind of question. But the way I'd kind of see it is, well, looking back on my life so far,
Mhm.
I mean, I've experienced a lot. I've been through a lot, been in different scenarios, different circumstances. Like I've changed multiple schools. I've changed cities. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Done a lot of moving here and there, sort of
That's
thing.
true.
Met a lot of people, gone through a lot of different experiences. That's all been really great, and that's kind of got me to the reason of where I am, who I am, and what I am becoming is based on those sort of things. So
You would have learned a lot through all that, eh?
yeah, 100%. And like, it's only when you like reflect on these sort of things you see how valuable that time is and that time that you've gone, you spent to everything. But the fact is, if you point out what we're saying here, it's a quarter life. I mean, like, you know, we're not saying we're going to live for 100 years, but like, you know,
We use the guide.
yeah, I'm saying like, let's say you do live for 100 years, right? Because, you know, average age in Australia is about 90 or so. And as technology progresses, we'll probably live longer anyway.
Yeah.
But let's say roughly 100, right?
Yeah.
Only a quarter of my life. And that amazes me that so much has happened in my life. So much that I can't even remember.
Especially when you're a baby and kid, right? You remember?
Exactly.
Do you remember dog shit, right?
I remember like literally.
No,
I
no,
remember what
I
I had for breakfast yesterday morning. Like literally.
I have the
what
same
happened.
shit every day,
Yeah,
so I know. Okay.
that makes it easier for you.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But like, I guess where the point I'm in my life, like I understand the value of time a bit more because growing up throughout, you know, when you go through school and even through university, you kind of like procrastinate a lot, and then you only understand the true effects of that later. Like my parents told me all the time, like I wasn't particularly hardworking, right? Especially during school and going into university and things like that. I wasn't the most hardworking person out there, right? And my parents always say if I worked harder, I could have achieved more, right? And I'll never tell them that they're right? My mom will listen to this and be like, I told you, you know. But like at the same time, I know that I could have done better. I could have been better if I'd worked harder, right? And now I pay the price for that, right? So one of the questions you asked was, am I happy with where I am now? Do I want to look like I want to achieve more? Realistically, am I happy with where I am now? No. Will I get there in the future? That's what I plan on doing. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to be further progressed in my life based on the plan that I had. So that's why my saying, and the value of time is so essential. And as you grow through life, you understand the value more and more, which is why your work colleague, being older,
boss,
he was basically like, yeah, I understand. This is the value of time. Make sure you know, because he's telling you. And even at our age now, I understand that value, and I'll probably understand it better in the future.
I got a question, a statement. My statement being, and I think everyone's heard this before, time is one thing you can't buy, right?
100%.
So once that's every second that runs out, that's it. Sayonara, game over.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing I was going to ask you, Josh, is you say you could have done more, whatever. Do you think that's whatever, regardless of how much you achieve, that's always what someone's going to say? Do you think that's the way it is? Like, do you think if someone else is looking at what you've done, they would be like, oh shit, you've shot a lot of goals, and then this arsehole's driving past again.
I swear that's like the third time that he's done that.
He's lost, probably.
I saw he saved up all his Centrelink money to buy that bike.
There goes a whole bunch of
Yeah,
more
since he was
listeners.
14.
Anyway, but going back to
Do
you think it's that? Do you think if someone else looked at you, they'd be like, God damn, he's done a lot, but it's just human instinct to be like, oh, I could have done more?
Yeah, I think that's within most people's human nature.
Yeah.
I also think it depends on the stage that you are in your life, right? Because like for example, like okay, I like to believe that again, everyone defines success differently, but like from way I see it, I believe that you're more successful than me, right? So like even then, you'll turn around, you're telling me, "Nah, I haven't achieved anything. I want to achieve so much more." Do you know what I mean? That's a great example of, I guess, to answer the question that you're saying, right? Because people will always say that until you kind of get to a stage in your life where you're like, "I'm done. I'm happy. I'm satisfied with where I'm at." And that depends on your expectations.
Do you have an expectation? Do you know roughly when you'd be like, "Yep, I've hit where I want to hit"?
You've got to have KPIs, man. I don't know.
Well, for me,
do you?
I think with my base KPIs moving forward, it's not like a rough figure, but for me, it's getting to a stage where I am financially stable enough that I can support my family, right? Like that.
When you
I
say
can.
your family, do you mean you or you and like your mum and dad, whatever, or
Your wife to be and kids.
Wife and kids more so. Like, by God's grace, my family's okay. My parents working hard. Obviously, I'm going to support them. You know what I mean? That's what we'll all end up doing. You know, I'll support them definitely. But I guess in this context,
why they gave birth to you, bro.
That's a real investment.
There's no reason to have you otherwise.
Listen, now you pay us back, huh?
That's it.
The repayment back period is now.
Pay with interest.
my mom's going to be listening to this and be like nodding her head and be like, "Tyrone, good boy, eh? He's saying the right thing,
he's
eh?"
thinking the right things.
Yeah, I always give my mom an Indian accent, but she doesn't have one.
She
but,
doesn't.
No.
Oh,
But yeah, that to answer your question, yes.
Yep.
And base KPIs, I think for me at this stage is create a stable financial so my family don't have to struggle.
yeah. That's a fair goal, being the breadwinner from a nuclear family anyway back in the day. Let's move on to Tyrone then.
No, go Kanye first.
Yeah, Kanye, you want to go next?
There's not much more to say. Mine's basically the same, except I'm not nowhere near as far along as Josh, so it's even worse at mine.
Okay, well, I mean, I assume your goal of being content is maybe slightly different, or is that the same as well?
Depends.
What's it depend on?
On how content you're talking about.
I guess to a point where you're like, yeah, I made my mind. Oh, okay. Well, what's success to you first? Because it sounds like Josh's success, not the soul thing, but looked like his answer was about getting the financial.
That's probably like
Yeah, mine was more short term.
that's like a successful life. What
Josh said.
Explained.
Okay.
For me to be just more content with life would be just to actually get a job that I like and earn enough money to make some savings.
I think getting a job that I think the era we live in now is the best time to get a job you like and get paid decent money. But I think we're still somewhat in that not completely, but we're still somewhat in that time period where the jobs which have to be done
Are the ones that pay the most.
are the ones that pay the most. But you can still make money doing the other way, right? Yeah, like it is possible.
Yeah, well, it's like a basic thing
course,
of like if you succeed in your field
It's the
or
age
whatever
of
you're good at.
entrepreneurs, man.
Yeah, that's it.
And now, entrepreneurs are not needing that massive capital requirement.
Nah.
The internet revolution.
Yeah, the internet revolutions get rid of those overheads.
All these businesses coming along, you're like, holy crap, great idea. It's
Great
an app.
idea,
It's, whether it's an app, it's an idea.
Selling
that-
online or something.
Yeah, and then now, all right, cool, I want to get capital, right?
Yep.
What do? Go fund me.
Yep.
You know, unregulated.
Yep.
Which scares me a bit, but hey, it's unregulated and free.
You're
So
free.
it's just like, hey, look, I have this idea. Go if you like it. Come on.
Get
board.
investors to back
So
you.
now your outreach as an entrepreneur
It's huge.
is huge. Like I had a client who raised around 200 grand.
Oh yeah.
in the
I
space of,
remember
like
telling
a
you that
month.
person. Yeah.
Well, she was like, she could sell ice to Eskimo.
Life financially is about how well you can sell
like,
shit.
This day and age, it's the age of the entrepreneur, age of doing what you want.
Yeah.
There's so many people that try it, and you hear about all the success stories, yet there's like
So many
every
failures.
success story, there's like 5 people that failed or 10 people that failed,
And that's
you know.
conservative, I'd say.
And
There
so
was a-
many people fail and
Yep.
lose all their money and
Yep.
just
Start from
screw it all up, screw themselves.
I agree. I
So
agree.
the question is, why do you think they fail?
Oh, okay. There's heaps.
Expectation.
Expectations. Also, the things is being the right place at the right time. Being a good support network as well is important. Like you need people who can help. Like if you need network so they can get you connections with the angel investors. You need people who maybe friends who can give you some financial advice so you don't have to pay for others. You gotta have that grind, a hustle, where you come
And not
from.
just take it all on your own, bro. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? In terms of like a lot of entrepreneurs that I've here, right?
Yep.
I work in the industry that I work in right now, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
work with a partner that's very big on the startup space.
Yep.
As well as our good mutual friend Aiden. who has a podcast, Stories Behind the Grind. Make sure to check him out. Link on the description below. Yeah, look, I think he, majority of the things that he says is, it's the fact that you need that mental support network.
Yeah, you need. I think
you take on so much. You don't want to tell
Yeah.
the wife that the business is doing bad.
Yeah.
You don't want to tell. You're missing
Other
out on
people.
school. School parent-teacher school interviews and whatnot.
Yeah.
You're missing out on the Saturdays football and because you're working that extra. But no one really takes. Do you know what I'm getting at? It's
Yeah,
like,
I get what you're
there's
getting.
no that because as the entrepreneur, who's this Centrelink faggot?
There's two of them.
There's
Wow.
3, I think.
Is it?
actually.
But I think
I was going like deep as well. Man.
To
He's
have-
going,
yeah, it comes in drops. I think to have that mentality or that thought process, you got to be doing the entrepreneurship for something that's bigger than money. There's got to be a bigger, deeper reason. You want to solve
It's
a problem.
altruistic, purely altruistic. You
Yeah.
got to start off with that.
Yeah, yeah.
How do I help my family? is where it starts off.
Yeah.
Then
Solve a
secondly,
problem.
How do I solve a problem?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Far too often I see how do I make money? Is the
Which won't get you far.
Which
It might get you somewhere, but won't get you far.
will get you to a
an extent, eh?
Exactly. And then
Yeah.
you'll be like, I'm done with this.
That's
not
it.
enough.
You'll bail.
It's what do you call shiny something syndrome? Shiny object syndrome, which again is discussed in that podcast, which we'll link down below anyway.
Okay, I didn't know about that.
Aaron Blackby, CEO of Startup Catalyst and founder of Peak Persona.
I think I've heard of that guy.
Yeah.
Kynan, do you have anything else to add? So you're saying you're saying you basically the same trajectory where she is projecting.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I guess that's what anyone really wants. That's like any average person. Like all people differ, but yeah, I guess that's what the average person wants.
Okay.
Simple man with simple goals.
Simple man, big goals. I like that one better. Tyrone.
No, you go first.
Now I knew you were buying time before explaining how angel investors work and stuff.
Yeah,
mate.
because ask us
Come
how
on,
much
mate,
we
you can
actually
see
care
that
about
from
that.
300 miles away, bro.
300? No, 400.
No, my vision's not that. I wear glasses, guys. I
2020.
should have got Specsavers. I go
You did.
Specsavers.
You did.
I did go
Smart guy.
Specsavers.
You must be an accountant.
Must be.
Oh,
Well, you have to laugh
it's a
at your own
beautiful night
jokes.
today, isn't it?
Come on, man. Come on,
Oh
man.
man, I don't like. Okay.
Oh,
What was
okay.
the question?
Do
What's the
you
question?
feel like
What's
do you,
the question?
so
What have you been
yeah
asking?
so well the first part of the question was, do you feel like where you've gotten to so far you're pretty you're happy with what you've achieved? The second part is now I'm just making up as I go because I don't even remember totally in detail. But another
But
part
us
of,
moving forward. Right?
Yeah,
it's
correct.
Like, it's like past and future. Or
Yeah,
present per se.
correct. How would you feel content? Like at what point would you feel content? What would you need? I think I already know the answer to this because you told me before, but you can tell everyone
Right
else.
now, it's paying off the house.
Yep.
I plan to do that within the 10-year period. Which
Okay.
I'm going to be having no savings after this America trip.
Oh
I'm just gonna be
yeah.
smashing the loan essentially because fuck paying interest.
Yep.
Excuse my French.
Excuse me.
Then secondly is just I just want enough passive income, right, to focus on my religion and the next life after this. Because I believe this is my opinion only, and I believe that there's life outside of life after this. And I just want to get prepared for that, and every time I do get closer to God, I know there's something there's a feeling you get of just content, and I want that. You know what I mean? And I just want enough income to sort of say, okay, I'm happy. It doesn't have to be like $100 grand a year worth of passive income. It could just be 15 or 20 or 30 grand a year in passive income, right? Cash on hand, pocket, right? That will give me enough sort of freedom, to have that part-time job and have that extra time where I can really dedicate myself to the religion. You understand? That's really all I want.
I
That's
see.
really all I want.
Okay, that's interesting. So the commonality between the three of you guys, it was at some point there's a financial difficulty, and after that it might change once the financial difficulty's been tackled.
Time versus money, right?
Yeah. Well, we live in a society of materialism, so that makes sense. And you do need money to survive. Australia being
I
a
was
better
gonna
country
say,
than most,
I think in this case it's more a necessity to survive, right?
Yeah,
More
yeah.
than like,
to
I guess like
be
based
baller.
on the theme, it's not like we want big flashy cars or anything like that. It's just kind of want enough to kind of get by and look after our families, right?
Yeah.
But then my question to you now, Rames, does that change for you based on what we said? Like, is it a similar theme?
Yeah, what about for Raimi, man?
Like, is it a similar theme?
He's gonna be like,
Mhm.
I want to buy every mansion up.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I'm gonna go to.
I'm gonna buy Australia. It's gonna be my country.
It's gonna be my country.
I'm not even gonna be prime minister. I'm just gonna own it.
Own the prime minister. no,
So me and the Queen got a thing together.
Well, okay. I'm pretty
Sorry?
sure she's taken, but
Who's this?
you and the Queen.
I'm not that desperate.
You are the Queen.
Wow.
Queen Latifah. That's what I prefer to. I don't know. I'm going like so sidetracked on this. Go ahead.
So, in terms of where I'm up to so far in life, yeah, I think I've.
You should be proud as a chump, mate.
Oh, thanks, man. I think so. Everyone all knows we're about 25 almost this year. So,
I know what you're about.
Yeah, we've only said it about 20 times.
yeah, I was going to use a guide. I think in my first 23, what I had achieved by 23, I was pretty content with. Maybe even 24. I think last few months or so just flopped me a bit lazy. So
That's alright. You deserve to be lazy after what you've been doing, man. Your life.
oh, thanks, mate.
Bro, you've like been grinding, man.
Oh, thanks, man.
Grinding
Appreciate that. But I think maybe, yeah. I think so far, yes. Yeah, I'm pretty content with where I've been. Where I want to be, I don't know where I want to be because I think I'm gonna sound it's all going too deep and stuff. But I think the only thing that scares me is if you get content too easy, and then you don't want to be like. So someone who's famous. I don't know who the person is. People who are listening might know, but I think it's Les Brown. He's like, the worst thing is when you die, then your spirits of when you're dying, then the spirits come up for what you could have been, but you just hit the brakes too early, and they're going to die with you. They go to the grave with you. So my sort of mindset is, be content to a point where you're happy with what you have, but don't stop the grind and just keep going.
I think the thing is we have to realize is like the grind don't stop, work don't stop. You know. Like,
Oh, definitely. Like, I just want to reiterate one point as well, guys.
Mm.
When I say I want to focus on religion, whatever like that, being content, whatever, that means I want to go hard on the religion aspect.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
there's a grind in that too.
There's a
So it's a
grind in that
different
as
grind
well.
you're saying.
Correct.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
really just try to like, just hit it on all angles. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Really try to go to, because I'm going to be doing after coming back from America, I've enrolled in the St. Cyril College of Theology.
Okay.
Theology College. I don't know. Whatever.
Okay.
So I'm going to be doing that.
Yeah.
Just hit it from all angles is what I want to try to do. Just start off little. I'm only doing one subject.
Okay. What's this going to give you, like a diploma or something?
No, just one subject, man.
Oh, okay.
It's a single subject.
Okay.
And it's just to sort of get a deeper understanding.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So
you're
there's a grind in that as
But
well.
it's a different grind, you're saying.
Exactly,
Work,
'cause
continue working as hard as you do, but work on something else.
not as hard as I do,
Okay.
because I want to, as I said, I want to go to part time and hopefully, as long as my passive investments do that, what I want them to do.
Yep. I think I might have said that incorrectly. What I meant to say was you're going to allocate your grind across different broad things. Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I second what you said about what you could have been and whatnot. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, go for it.
Oh yeah, that's it.
I think I guess to kind of bring time back into this, right?
Mm.
Then my question to you guys is within what these expectations, let's say expectations for the sake of a better word, right? Or about what you want to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
How much of important does time play in those retrospective of your life? Because you go back to the original point that you were making about what your boss said, right? About how important time was, and then you go through this life and you go through all these things in your life, but for him it was worth it. So my assumption is, based on what he's saying, the time that he invested in all those different aspects of his life was worth it for him. So how will that influence and impact it for you guys, and what does the role of time play in order for you guys to achieve that?
Dude, it's the most important. It's the biggest thing, because if there's no time constraint, there's no everything just slows down. Like if we were
smart
more
goals, man.
Yeah, smart. Oh yeah,
It's starting
time. Yeah, and I think if we were mortals, we wouldn't be.
There'd be no rush.
There'd be no rush. There'd be no rush.
So
Will
We'd be
you
like,
be immortals on like?
So are you telling me that basically?
Guys, I watched a movie. Okay, sorry.
No, go on.
No. I watched a movie, yeah, is like this guy. So essentially, I think his name was like Selfless or something like that. So there was these, I guess, people that were in difficult situations, and obviously it was set in America where healthcare is not for free.
Oh, yeah.
And the kid was really needing some sort of, assistance or surgery or whatever done, or procedure done.
Yep.
And to do it, he sacrificed himself, right, as a vessel. Now, so he's been wiped out, and he's now a vessel. And so they found a way to transfer your consciousness, right, into this other guy's mind, and you take this pill, and this pill slowly.
How new is this film? How old is it?
Oh, it's like 2015, 2016.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of
and it's like, yeah, man,
it's
like,
pretty hectic, eh?
I was just like, whoa. And then the reason why it's called Selfless is the guy who finally got the life, right?
Yeah.
The guy who transferred his conscious from his old body, his old failing body, to this new guy.
Yeah.
Who's an ex-army vet and whatever. He found, he saw the memories and was like, oh crap, you told me.
Of the other guy?
Yeah, he said, you told me this guy was just, you guys was like, did this via stem cell, whatever the correct analogy on, phraseology is on that. But point is, he was like, you guys never told me about this. What is this? And so he was like, nah, I'd rather just give it up and give him back his body, and he let him take over, and he actually died. Because if you don't take the pills, right? So if Raimi takes possession of Jashir's body or brain or whatever, and Raimi doesn't take the pills he needs to take throughout the year,
your conscious leaves.
Your conscious leaves, and Jashir's conscious takes over.
So
because you're sharing the body with him.
So the point you're trying to make is, be careful life you choose.
Yes.
Okay.
Not before. Yes, that, but it was more just. Remember how he said, "Oh, you could live forever" or whatever.
Okay.
That was all.
Well, I was just saying because we only age at the top at this certain
rate.
Like the rate that we age at is only because of our environment. So if we had a different environment, we
could age slower.
Well, or faster, depending on the environment.
What's wrong with the environment?
What's wrong with it?
Yeah.
It's just the way we live. Like, say, okay, we only use oxygen out of all the gases that we breathe in.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need any of the other ones. So, say you, I don't know, went somewhere that had pure oxygen in their atmosphere kind of thing, then...
Like cleaner?
Well, yeah,
okay.
And so then, it might be better for our bodies, or, there's so many different things, like the heat affects us, and, all different things in our environment. So if we went to an environment that didn't have things that affected us negatively, then maybe we'd live longer, maybe we could live somewhat forever.
Yeah, it's the same thing of like being in an environment, for example, like a lot of Western countries have a lot of fast food. Going to more heart disease.
Or like our environment in Australia is better than,
other
places like, say, towards the equator because it's hotter.
Yeah, Australia's pretty good like that, I'd say. I'm not going to complain too much about
Aussie. And then
we
got a richer environment too.
Yeah,
and
it's pretty good down
cleaner
here.
water and all that kind of stuff.
All the good stuff.
But then, if there's another planet, it's a more suitable temperature for us, more suitable climate,
So I guess the answer to your question, Josh, is we've got to move from here, somewhere we can live longer, and then time's not as annoying as it is right now to achieve our goals.
So then that can go back to what I was going to mention earlier about, if you think about it this way then, right? We've basically mentioned the whole time about how time is so important in us for our grind and moving forward and progressing. What about those people that are laid back? Are you saying that they're wasting time? See,
No, I think it comes back to the point you said before.
Them trust fund baby.
No, it's a point Josh made before that the goals or what it's specific.
Your own goal is.
Yeah, it's specific. It's not necessarily financial. That's one, like other people don't. I bet you. I'm not actually gonna bet you anything because I could be wrong. But I bet you in the figure of speech that there would be as many people, if not more, slightly more, who don't give a flying shit about their financial success or their fame or whatever.
But I wasn't talking about financial success.
No, but the point I'm trying to make is just the difference between goals. Then us guys, who pretty much everyone here at some point mentioned financial success as being a goal. So all I'm trying to say is I think they differ for everyone. So there's people out there who are just like, you know what, I'm happy earning whatever I'm earning.
Be content
with
whatever they're
so long.
doing.
Yeah, correct.
Even if we wouldn't be content doing what they're doing.
That's right.
So here's the thing. Here's what I've taken away from what you guys have said, right? Time, right? The importance of time is relative to the level of contentness, right? because time, when you reach a stage of more content, we've all unanimously agreed that time isn't as valuable, right, towards achieving what we've established as our goal or targets, whatever it may be, for anyone, is not as important once you have become to a stage where maybe not necessarily fully content, but more content, and that value of content is higher than the value of time at that given time. Does that make sense?
I think so. You probably need to do a graph, man, but I think that's what we're getting at.
Let me draw you
it's
a
like
graph.
equilibrium hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when you can rock up the office in a Hawaiian shirt and shorts, even though you don't care.
But see, obviously that changes, right? Because obviously once you achieve one thing and you tick that off, then the next thing comes.
Yeah.
So going back to our point of we're ever grinding, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That means time is always invaluable, right? Because going back to what your boss said, right? He's like, you did one thing after another thing, you know, you get a wife and kids, they get married, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything after that becomes worth it. I mean, he's still working hard. You know
He's
what I mean?
still working hard,
So clearly he's not
stopping.
content to where he's up to, and he wants to work hard and get more, right?
Yeah.
But I guess overall, the importance of that time, right? Because think about it this way, right? Think about it, flip the other side. Let's say we're just like, yeah, we're happy with where we're at. Things are going pretty well. Would we be as valuable for the time? No, we'd be more like to chillax, enjoy the moment sort of thing.
Yeah.
So then...
Which is not a bad way to live.
That's all relative, though, because if you think about it, right, that's how we define the importance of time, right? As us grinding to achieve a goal.
Goal specific.
Other people will value time, right, as making the most of a moment or a situation, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, obviously, well, that's what it is, right? The value of time is making the most of that moment, right? So for us, it's like, oh, we need to grind, we need to do better, we need to achieve that goal. For other people, it's like, no, I just want to enjoy my time. Let's say we're at Mount Coot, I just want to chill and enjoy my time, relax and do what I want to do, you know what I mean? Or have some... You good, man? Keep driving. Anyway, you do what you got to do, and you know, you enjoy and you chill within your life, and that's what that time, or for example, the time that they spend with their family. And again, circumstances changes that as well, right? So let's say, unfortunately, for example, something happens within your family, right? Somebody gets ill, right? Let's say they have terminal illness. Suddenly that value of time changes. The value of your grind changes to the value of spending as much time as you can with them, right?
So it seems to be all specific.
It's all relative.
Relative to the person and the environment and the goals which they want to achieve. At the end of the day, I think the main thing is if you're happy, that's it.
I have a question for you guys. I have a reason for asking this, that I'll get to after. But
the answer is yes.
Would you guys want to live forever?
Oh no, I do. Sorry, I retract my previous.
I thought about this.
No.
I have a reason for asking this, and I'll say it after. But everyone.
Okay, I can tell you my reason.
Okay, you can go first. I'll go second.
I don't want to live forever.
Yeah, I'm saying no. I might be for a similar reason as Tyrone.
Wait. I have a question for your question. Does everybody else live together forever with me?
No.
No.
It's only you.
It's just me.
It's
Oh, hell
literally
no,
only you.
no way. No, not in a million years. Because you see everyone else die. You know what I mean? That's depressing.
This is
hell. But I think from me perspective, personally, from a religious aspect, I believe as a Christian.
This comes from a religious view to this question. Keep going.
Okay. Yeah. Well, for me, I believe we're in this world for a given time, but greater things, as Tyrone mentioned earlier, greater things are meant for us. If we believe in the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Jesus' second coming, etc., etc., things happen after. So that's what I'm aiming for. That's what I'm looking for. That won't happen if I'm alive forever.
I coming from a different point of view. No, immortality. It doesn't. I'm not sure it scares me, but I just think life is so boring. Like it. Can you just think about right now, guys? If we know we live forever, we wouldn't give a flying shit about anything, really, would we? Okay, sorry, not anything, but a lot less things. It'd become a bit boring. Yeah,
but would it though? Because think about how much you see the world change.
Yep.
When everything happens, right? You're there. You experience it all.
Yep.
Like the time before internet, the time of when we had dial-up connection, and then if the phone rings, you're like, don't pick up the phone. You know what I mean? You lived through that.
But we've lived through that.
Yeah, but I'm saying when you go into the future, as for example, I'm saying technology, for example.
Yeah,
as
that's
that
the invention of electricity.
I guess I'm taking a different point of view. I'm taking a point of view from that. The battle you got against time it disappears, and it's literally just like, I'm gonna do things at my own pace, and meh.
That's true.
It
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Time is irrelevant,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's very true.
Well,
You
okay.
kind of?
Do you guys know where I'm coming from with this
No.
question?
No.
Cain and Abel.
Oh, okay.
You know the story of Cain and Abel?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Alright.
Raimi?
I know of the story, and
Okay, so
yeah.
the first ever murder
Mhm.
on
Was the one brother
Earth
killing the other, right?
was Cain killing Abel. They were
Yeah.
two brothers
Yeah.
that hated each other
Yeah.
and constantly bickering, fighting, blah, blah, blah. Cain ends up killing Abel.
Yep.
What was Cain's punishment from God?
I don't know. What was it?
His punishment was to live forever.
Ah.
That
Well,
was
what
his
happened? What
punishment.
happened to him? Like, where is he now?
So, this was the plot of a show that I've watched,
Okay.
and basically he thought, oh yeah, this is pretty cool to start with, and I don't know how long after, a few hundred years after, he's like, okay, I'm sick of this, I'm gonna try and find a way to kill myself, blah blah. So he tries every way possible for thousands of years, or however many thousands of years it is, and can't find a way to kill himself. He ends up finding a way to become mortal and kill himself, becomes mortal, and he realizes when he's about to kill himself, wait, I don't want to go through death. I would rather be immortal. So you guys are saying that you'd like to die. He's now got the chance to die, and he has gone through all the things that you said you don't want to go through.
How many years
and he
did
has
he live?
realized,
How many years did he live?
I don't know, 4,000 something, whatever it is.
That's decent whack.
But yeah, he's realised after that he doesn't want to die, even though he was going through all those things of wanting to die for those reasons that you said you wouldn't
Here's
want
my
to
point.
be immortal.
Here's my point to counter that, right? So he lived his life, the whole life, not having to fear death, right? Because he was never going to die. We know we're going to die. That's a fact from the moment we're born.
You're
Even
dying.
if we don't think about it,
You're dying.
subconsciously we know
Right,
that
I
we're
hate
going to
you.
die at some
Yeah.
stage.
We're all dying. I'm sorry. Listeners,
Like-
you're all dying.
Yeah, that's
Shut
the reality of our life, right? For him, right?
Fuck, man. Like today, it's like 10 o'clock at the moment. How am I going to go to sleep? I'm like, so what do I got for workflow tomorrow?
We should
Oh,
wrap up quite
shit.
soon, actually.
But like the point is, like I guess my point saying to that is, we understand that, well, even if we don't think it consciously, we know death is inevitable. We see it all around us, right? And we know that's going to happen to us one day or another. He spent 4,000 years believing that he will never die, because at that point you get a sense of, I guess you kind of become cocky if you think about it, right? You can do whatever the hell you like. You can walk in front of a train. You ain't going to die. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have that. We have that fear.
Two things. I think one, the reason why he would have been shitting himself before he almost dies because of the unknown. If he knew,
of course.
if he knew what was going to happen next, I don't think he would have been scared. And I think that's the reason a lot of people are scared, because they're not 100% sure what's going to happen next. The other thing I was going to say is, if you're immortal, one thing that might ruin the deal or make the deal for me is if, like, for example, you got shot, does a bullet just bounce off you, or does it make a hole and you can go through the
No,
pain?
in his case, he would actually feel the pain of death. So every
screw that
time he
shit.
tried to kill himself, he would pretty much actually die, and he'd be back, half an
That's
hour
a shit
later, kind
deal,
of thing.
man.
He felt the actual pain of dying each time. If it was instant,
Well, this is
shooting
a
yourself in the
punishment,
head,
really.
or slow
That's a
pain.
You have to
deal.
remember, this is a punishment. This is not a
Yeah,
blessing.
he'd try and drown himself.
Yeah,
He'd go through
I
like
can see
a
that.
drowning and die drowning and then come back. He would like burn himself in fire, go through the fire and burning alive, and acid. He tried everything.
Yeah.
Chopped his own head off. He
Oh,
tried
Jesus.
There's
dismembering
way,
everything, leg by leg, by arm, and then head.
Did he try
and-
this one method?
I don't know every method.
Trying to become an accounting firm partner.
Because that's suicidal.
Oh, fuck. No, it's like,
Oh, man.
bro, you know you're not wanted. It's like, you're immortal, you've been working there for 50, 50,
Yeah.
60, 70, 80, 90 years. You're like, still a senior manager.
So yeah,
Oh
when
my
he became
God.
mortal, he didn't have to.
So I just had to chuck
He
that
wasn't
in there.
scared of the pain of death, because he'd gone through that thousands and thousands
Yeah.
of times
Yeah,
before.
okay.
There's always
He
the
wasn't
replay
scared of
button.
that. It was more of scared of the unknown, I would say.
I mean, sorry to interrupt you, Ray.
No, it's
But if you think about it this way, right? Obviously, he believes in heaven and hell.
Yep.
Believes in, God and everything. He knows he ain't going to heaven. So, if you think about it, he has to prepare himself for hell.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't know. I mean, like, again, that's the thing of time, right? In that situation, time becomes irrelevant, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Sorry, a motorcycle went.
I gave him the finger.
I'm just saying, that guy's been right.
Raimi gave him the finger. I even said
He
it.
just keeps coming around.
I said on
and
social
around.
media.
I mean, okay,
We wrap up. I think that's probably enough for the night. Don't you think, guys?
yeah. I mean,
No, let him finish his point.
Oh,
I
sorry, you
making a
distracted
point.
me.
I
The
think
motorbike.
I'm pretty sure I was just trying to wrap up anyway. I'm just
Okay.
saying, like time is relative, which is a statement that people says all the time, right? It is important to everyone else in different ways, but it changes depending on your situation and circumstance. I don't know. I guess I'll leave that up to everyone else to decide how important time is to them.
Everyone be
because
happy, stay happy.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
I mean, we should come up with like a catchphrase line at the end of our podcast. You know what I mean? Like something like that,
Yeah.
and then like we become known for that line.
Let's do that. Guys, there you go. You've seen our awesome BD marketing skills at play as well. You've had an accounting lesson, you had philosophy, you had life, and now you had marketing. Where would you get that?
Obviously.
And time. All within 40 minutes.
Be careful about time.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll wrap it up there. You
Right,
guys,
lads, ladettes. See you next time.
Ciao.